We are.
All right, here we are. It is live at Tangle of the Show, a special production for Sportskeeda Wrestling. Sportskeeda Wrestling, the #1 source of wrestling around the world, in alliance with our page Lucha Libre Online, to bring you all the great news from Survivor Series, what happened in Raw, SmackDown, comments by Bray Wyatt, the takeover of NXT, wrestlers, women wrestlers, and many more subjects that we will be addressing in this 30-35 minutes. She is the Dangerous Blonde, my wife, Diana Savinovich. I am Hugo Savinovich. For those of you that don't know me, for over 70 years, I was a Spanish play-by-play announcer and announcer of the TV shows of WWE. Also worked in production for them for 17 years, and before that, 15 years, were with the most successful wrestling company in the Caribbean for years. And also, I've been doing a lot of productions for AAA pay-per-views, and recently for the Crash Lucha Libre. I also have a wrestling company in South America and Chile, so I stay very active. And recently, I've been doing some work with the Crash Lucha Libre. Conan and his partners, we did a wrestling pilot TV show, so I stay active. December 9th, I am producing Kings of Lucha Libre in Laboon, Queens, New York, for my friend, WWE Hall of Famer Johnny Rotz, the unpredictable world of wrestling. The main event will be legends from Mexico Lucha, Dr. Bachner against LA Park, and many other stars. So I stay active, and this also gives us the opportunity in our page to have more than 6,000 comments. Last WWE's pay-per-view Survivor Series, we heard from people around the world, over 6,000 comments. So this is an opportunity that we will talk about Survivor Series, what our friends in Sportskeeda Wrestling think, also our friends from Lucha Libre Online, and more important, what do you guys think? So, Diana, let's welcome our fans. This is a Tangle of the Show, the 30-35 minutes live broadcast of what's happening in the wrestling world. Diana, say hello to our fans.
Hello and blessings to all those people out there that share the same passion as we do, wrestling. To all you fans, I will be reading your comments. We are live from New York City, so I'll start with some of the comments. Here, Win Arjun says Roman. Deepak Pandy says AJ Styles. Vani RS says Roman. Also, Rosario Pereira says Roman. Kuldeep Yadak says Roman. Dan Adams says Psychosis should come back to WWE.
Yeah, Psychosis was really good, and brought those mask heroes into the American and the rest of the world wrestling's window. Vikash
Mohani says, hi, from which country? We are live from New York City.
From New York City, the 14th floor, live right here in Sportskeeda Wrestling and Lucha Libre Online. We have an alliance to bring you the best news, and we will be bringing you special programs. But every Wednesday, look for us at this time. And this is a program where you guys will ask the questions, and we will talk about what's been going on in the wrestling world, especially WWE.
Saram Mukarong Rai says, CM Punk, please come back.
CM Punk, yes, a lot of people. There's so much controversy about that. And we have some comments on the latest things that happen in professional wrestling. Let's go with more comments.
Lester Alou says Roman Reigns is terrible wrestler, and also with the microphone. Matt Robinson says Adam Cole, baby. Matt Robinson says happy Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving to all you fans too.
And from the editor's desk of Sportskeeda Wrestling, we have a comment from Aniruddha
Mishra.
Mishra, from the editor's desk of Sportskeeda Wrestling. We asked him, what are your thoughts regarding Roman Reigns working in the mid-card as a new WWE Intercontinental Champion? Sportskeeda and one of its editor's members says to us, I liked it because it's a fresh thing, not seeing Roman involved in a main event scene. Those were the comments from the editor's desk of Sportskeeda Wrestling, one of its members, Niruda Mishra. So those were the comments from Sportskeeda. From our editing board in Lucha Libre Online, Michael Morales, the question was, what are your thoughts regarding Paige's return and the NXT women taking over the main roster? Michael Morales from Lucha Libre Online said, WWE erred in calling up those talents to the main roster. There were other women more prepared for this moment, like Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. However, they chose talent that did not have a protagonist role, nor credibility in NXT before the debut. The worst part is that they fired Emma instead of giving her a real opportunity, and so they can pack the rosters with less talented wrestlers. In a few months, we will see the Invaders in losing streaks. They should have strengthened their current roster before expanding it. On the bright side, WWE has enough female wrestlers to create a women's tag team division and even a women's Royal Rumble. That's from Editing Board in Lucha Libre Online. Let's go to the fans' comments. Yeah.
Luis Rodriguez says hello from Florida on his way to Alabama. Jerry Ramirez says, much love from Ohio. You was the best announcer in WWE.
Thank you very much.
We miss you.
Atunga!
Dan Adams says, Jack Swagger should be back.
Yes, definitely. A lot of misused talents. Let's go with more comments.
Sara Loquer says, only Roman Reigns. Sayan Daz says, hi. Aravind S. Knight or Neat says, hi. Nicholas View says, Lester has no idea about wrestling. So, Ashish Tinku says, what about RVD?
RVD, he worked for me in one of my productions for Wrestling Superstar in Chile. Top performer. He will be great at any wrestling company. The problem with RVD is he doesn't wrestle for little money, and he will demand huge money from WWE, as he does for any promotion that takes him out. And he's worth every dollar. I mean, he was fantastic for us in South America and Chile. But the other problem is to get him back into wrestling in a full-time capacity. RVD has a bigger challenge, and that's the fact that, I don't know if you know this, but he has been very successful as a stand-up comedy. And he doesn't use the wrestling material as well, you know, as the way of shining as a stand-up comedian. And he told me while we were taking him back to the airport in Chile when he wrestled for us in Wrestling Superstar, that he is making more money on the stand-up comedy tours that he does in wrestling business. And he says, Hugo, besides, I don't have to take any bumps, but he does miss the fans, and he is involved sometimes on those autograph signing sessions. RVD, a tremendous performer. Let's go with more comments, Diana.
Hugo, I want you to talk about a little bit, what are they doing with Bray Wyatt?
Well,
I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan, and I am so upset the same way I am upset with what they're doing with Matt Hardy.
Yes, Bray Wyatt, as a matter of fact, Sportskeeda Wrestling reported the tweet from Bray Wyatt is available right here in Sportskeeda Wrestling. The headliner was very sad, because what Bray Wyatt said when the Bludgeon Brothers debuted, and for you that don't know, or just to pinpoint what he's talking about, Bray Wyatt, part of his Bray Wyatt's family that are now using the gimmick of or the character name of the Bludgeon Brothers on the tweet of Bray Wyatt was a very sad comment, and the comment was, "Come home." So to me, it's like even Sportskeeda wrestling editors were mentioning this. It's very sad. The last thing we know about Bray Wyatt, he injured Jason Jordan's leg after he lost to Jason Jordan. The fans are so upset with the creative, the way they are murdering the characters of the Hardy Boys and Bray Wyatt. Let's go with more comments, Diana.
Justin Lewis Fleming says, last Monday night, Paige, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville attacked Alexa Bliss. Is Alexa Bliss face now, or still a heel?
No, she is the villain. She is the top villain, and we really like Alexa Bliss. The return of Paige was awesome. The only problem was I thought it should have been the night before in Survivor Series. I think that if you're going to bring her back, and not alone, but with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, then the right spot would have been Survivor Series, where there are teams involved. And for some reason, WWE is missing the boat, It is good news that Paige is back. When she said, "Did you miss me? I am back," I think the fans responded, and obviously this has helped to erase a lot of the huge mistakes that WWE made, including Survivor Series, where they telegraphed the ending of Survivor Series by putting those last two matches where you knew that the match of AJ Styles against Brock Lesnar, you knew that Brock had to win it in order to keep the storyline of the teams, Raw against SmackDown and Survivor Series. It's a damn shame that it happened like that, because it should have been the teams, Raw against SmackDown, the semifinal, and then the last match should have been that dream match, AJ Styles against Brock Lesnar. Don't get me wrong. The match was fantastic. I mean, Lesnar, took it to AJ Styles. AJ Styles showed that he was not intimidated. The fans loved it. But what about if that would have been the last match? Then you would have had the phenomenal one, AJ Styles against Suplex City Brock Lesnar, in one of those moments that, you live for those moments, and it was stolen from the fans. Not that the match was not good. Just the fact that sometimes ego takes over, and I think Triple H, as part of the creative, just made the wrong decision of having that match. The match was not bad. The Raw against SmackDown, the betrayal of Triple H and his brother-in-law Shane, and also on the general manager, Kurt Angle, all of that was good. The fact that it was done wrong, it should have been the last match, dream match, AJ Styles against Suplex City Lesnar. Let's go with the comments.
We are live from New York City. Gary Gordon is asking, where is Ziggler?
Well, I think you should ask creative about where is Ziggler. Did you put this on the other pages? There?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Many people, even in the rosters of NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, and I'm mentioning names because we're not here to inflict any damage. With when we do this, we do it for the love of wrestling, the respect and the passion of wrestling. That it is sad when the wrestlers sit around catering, not knowing what the heck is going to happen on the production of the shows, Raw, SmackDown, and it's very sad.
Matt Robinson says that they need to reboot the writing for WWE.
Yes, emergency. In Spanish, I have my calling. When I did the wrestling, I used to use, and I still do, atendana, fuego, fuego, shushi, llama los bomberos. That means fire, fire. Shushis are blue and gold Macau. I say, you got to call the firemen because it's burning. And I think the brain of the creative team force is burning. I think that they are on fire and not in the positive way. The brain cells have left the building. Like Elvis used to say, they say about Elvis has left the building. I think creative ideas are leaving WWE, and it's sad because WWE is the #1 wrestling company in the world. It is what represents the business, our business, and I believe that Vince should be more energetic again, and he's going to have to just stop this nonsense and go back into what brought him to the table.
And Pradeep Kilani says Goldberg. Where's Goldberg?
Goldberg is enjoying his time. He has a lot of money, and he will be back if WWE puts out the money. I think that he was very pleased with his last performance, and obviously WWE still needs people like Triple H, Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, in order to cause us some impact with the wrestling fans, because their creative team is doing a lousy job building the new stars of tomorrow, and even with the new face of wrestling, Roman Reigns, which is finally getting somewhere.
Felipe Gutierrez Hernandez says, any memories of Thanksgiving wrestling shows? Because Starrcade and Survivor Series were Thanksgiving shows. Greeting from Suplex, Chile, live tonight.
Our producer of Wrestling Superstar, and if you speak Spanish, Suplex is every Wednesday, and he's my producer from Wrestling Superstar. And, you have to build again on what made WWE or WWF, WWE, a household item. What made the international fans fall in love with WWE? They are killing the passion of our business by ideas that makes no sense, and by misusing the right talent and just going, to where the fans don't want the WWE to go.
We want to wish a happy birthday to Nicholas. All of a sudden a call was coming in. Let me see if I get this. Nicholas DeView, I believe it is. That's having a happy birthday today.
Happy birthday to you,
yes.
The birthday boy.
Yeah.
And we also have to talk, Diana, about the women of NXT and the takeover on SmackDown. Thank God for that takeover, because when you announced that you're canceling the main event match, this is how bad creative it's doing in WWE, that you cancel the only attraction that meant something, without knocking Natalia's rematch clause match against the Queen Charlotte. But I'm talking about the main event attraction in the publicity world. When you promote the event, the TV show, AJ Styles against the ex-champion Mahal. When that match was canceled, it just, whatever win the sale had of the SmackDown show for Tuesday, it was just like taken off last night. How could you cancel the rematch that it's plugging your audience to watch that? Once that match was canceled and promoted for, or the promo done for Clash of Champions, it just got people upset, because if you don't have any strong substance, why are you going to cancel the match? Or at least do something, bring him to the ring, have something, and then but having a recorded message by the ex-champion Jinder Mahal, which was bad, because you don't do that to an ex-champion, especially when you're going on that one-day India event that is also sponsored by Sportskeeda Wrestling. You have a recorded message. This is what drives people crazy. We would love to get to the bottom of why this was done, because it makes no sense. And once you tell the fans, we're going to give you the WWE match on SmackDown Live, and then you find out you're not getting that match, and you're going to have to wait for Clash of Champions, I think unless you have a powerful reason, you are playing with fire, and you're getting the fans more and more upset. The fans are upset about what they did to Matt Hardy again. When Matt Hardy was defeated,
I'm upset.
Not in the actual pay-per-view, but in the kickoff. Probably not even half of the audience was in the building, and then you lose against Elias. Nothing wrong with Elias, but there was no need to use Matt Hardy. And then you make him lose, and then the next time you see Elias, Matt Hardy comes in, and now Elias runs. So they kill Matt Hardy, and then they want to do a storyline. Who is in charge of the creative ideas in WWE? And I'm very surprised, because I worked for over 17 years with them, but I do believe that when there is no pressure, Vince McMahon just takes it easy. But I still believe that Vince is the wrestling genius, and somehow he's going to have to put somebody else in charge of the creative team, and he's going to have to be more active into this, because it ain't happening right now.
Matt Robinson says, no more PG, bring back old school wrestling.
The problem with that is that they will lose a lot of the TV contracts. We're in an era right now that even one word that you might say on TV might just change the classification of the show, and the money is with PG. Unfortunately, the era in which we live demands for, if you're going to make money and create a global audience, there is so many rules from different countries, China especially, Russia. A lot of these big countries, India and South America, I could tell you about some of the big markets where they're very strict. As a matter of fact, one of the problems with WWE losing money in Brazil at the beginning was that they were not aware. They didn't do the marketing study, and they found out too late about the rules and classifications of the programs in Brazil. And when they spent millions to get the product over in Brazil, their show was put after midnight, and you ain't having success if they bury you on the midnight slot. That ain't prime time. We'll go with more comments.
Scarlett Garfield asks, how come Raw have all the strong wrestlers and SmackDown has a few only?
I believe also has to do with creative, and it has to be fixed. For a while, SmackDown was kicking Raw's butt in match performance, in creative performance, but right now it's very, very sad. Raw and SmackDown are weak, but now SmackDown, the Blue Show, is looking even more weak.
Gordon Tidwell says, what happened to Jeff Hardy?
Jeff Hardy is recovering from 2 surgeries, but like we said last time, he has not lost anything, because even if he would have been healthy right now, the misuse, and you got talent that are sitting in chairs in big arenas, talent that people love, and they're not even being used. So right now, I think that Jeff Hardy is not losing any good TV time, and I think that he'll get even stronger physically and emotionally when he comes back, and hopefully they will do something with the Hardys, maybe something like the delete gimmick. Something has to be done, because right now I am telling you, WWE is missing the boat. They are not performing to what we expect. They are the #1 promotion in the world. They are the monster of professional wrestling, and they are not doing the right thing for the fans and for some of the talent.
Frank Acosta says that he loves the English version of this show. Thank you so very much. Also, Utsav Sharma says, will they ever come up with women tag team, as they have boasted the roster with new women wrestling? Wrestling.
Yes, I believe that they could do this. My only problem is, you know what has happened with what they started in Europe, and especially in England with their division over there, how they just almost killed it, and with so many great European wrestlers, and so many, well, even with the cruiserweights, they got Enzo as a champion. I mean, if there is no more a clear picture of having all these fantastic wrestlers in 205, and perhaps some of the best things we have seen now is the takeovers of NXT and the showcase of the cruiserweights. But as good as the NXT women taking over SmackDown was good, the ones they're doing on Raw with Enzo with the title and the cruiserweight, it just kills their division, because when you see the guy that is their champion, it's an insult to fans like you guys that know. You guys know so much about wrestling that is insulting to have a storyline that makes no sense as Enzo as a cruiserweight champion. Don't get me wrong, Enzo is great in the microphone, but he should be a leader of a faction. He should be the manager of a great team. He should be the guy with the mic, like they were doing with Big Cass. If you're going to do it with the cruiserweights, but you got to take the title away, and you got to get him out of the ring. I don't think he has no business with the cruiserweight wrestlers, and the only way you want that it works to have Enzo in the ring is when you are involved in a good storyline, and finally that match takes place where people want to see somebody kick Enzo's butt. But other than that, you're wasting precious time, and TV time is gold.
Hal Cranford wants to know, why can't WWE programming all air on the WWE network? Well,
because then you will not make the money. And this is dollars and cents. You have to sell this programming to India, to Russia, obviously all around the world in more than 24 languages, because that's the way that you recover your investment, and that's the way that it pays for the growth of WWE Network. WWE Network is the future. They're cutting the middleman, which is the pay-per-view companies. But in the process of getting there, it has cost the company and the investors millions and millions of dollars. Is it a good investment? Yes. Are they doing the correct thing with WWE Network? No. I think that they should have already created better programming to hook more subscribers. But I think it's the right thing. When you have your own network, you cannot have all your shows on that network. Big example: Oprah. Oprah is she has her own network, and she has original programming on her network. But some of the biggest shows, one of them, my wife loves the show, Dr. Oz.
I love Dr. Oz.
Just to mention one, it's on syndication. That's where the money is. If you want to sabotage your growth, that's when you bring all your programming just to the network. And remember, money is when you're able to sell for 1 year. I don't know. I remember the last time it was like close to 200 millions for the programming. That's where the money is. Let's go with more comments.
Narendra Jangra asks, when will Cena be back again?
Well, Cena was back in Survivor Series. He will be in and out, and depending on his TV and Hollywood movie productions. When The Undertaker lost against Roman Reigns and Cena lost against Roman Reigns, it was a signal or the symbol of a new dog in town, a new era beginning, the Roman Reigns era beginning. Like it or not, he is the new face of wrestling, and John Cena, it's always going to be great to see him as a guest star. Now he's no longer the main star. He is a star. There's been talk about turning him heel. I don't know if it's the right thing to do right now, because I don't think it will help. I believe that Cena, guys like Cena, Triple H, Undertaker, you know, The Rock, Stone Cold, they're no longer heels or baby faces. They are legends. They are superstars, and fans love that.
Vikram VKM says, what's next for the authors of Pain?
I would like to see more psychology on them. I would like to see good vignettes. I think that a lot of the things that are happening is they're not using their main shows, Raw and SmackDown, as tools to showcase this talent. So you go into a pay-per-view like Survivor Series, for instance, and even for a guy like me, I said, wow, this is not, you know, Authors of Pain is not bad, but, you know, I had no idea who the heck they were, because on the big platforms, even on their own pages, are not well displayed. And I think that when you have YouTube, you have millions of fans, and you don't showcase the talent that needs to be exposed the right way. You know, I think even in WWE Network, they should have a show just showcasing this new star, so fans have a window of where to go to find out about this new stars. That's why fans were upset with that, with what Paige did, not her returning, but the fact that they and the women of NXT taking over SmackDown, as the editors of Sportskeeda Wrestling also mentioned, because of the fact that they let go of a good talent, excellent talent, Emma. Emma should have been, or with Paige, or with the takeover of the women of NXT on SmackDown, because you have some exposure and you have tremendous wrestling ability there, yet WWE chose to go the wrong way. And the majority of you fans, let them know, the creative team of WWE, that even though the takeover was a good idea, who they chose was not a good idea. Let's go with more.
Ricky Shukla wants to know, what do you think about Jinder's next match?
Wow, I am in Jinder's quarter. I believe that he could be a hero for his country, for India, and for that gigantic market. I think that market is the future of WWE, and I also believe that Jinder represents a talent that did not get frustrated. Nothing was given to him on a silver platter. He had to work. He knows what it is to be on the low card of WWE, of going into small companies, on independent companies, back to even Puerto Rico and other places, of making, you know, very little money, staying at a bad hotel, and when everybody it's making it to the top, he was, you know, going on the opposite direction. But Jinder Mahal is the example that if you do not give up, if you do not surrender, and you try harder, and you stick around with passion, you know, good things will happen. And that title, I believe that they made the decision of giving it to AJ Styles. It was a business decision, but I thought that, and I still believe that he should be the man having the belt or the championship. Vince doesn't like nobody using the word belt, and I think it's correct. Championship is the right word. The championship going back to that big card, from 2 shows to a super show, and it's sponsored by Sportskeeda Wrestling, the WWE Tour in India, and obviously the other night it's been transferred into Abu Dhabi. But concentrating on Jinder Mahal, I think that if you want to get the love of the fans of India, then that's the right moment where you should bring Jinder Mahal as the WWE champion. I know a lot of AJ Styles fans will disagree with me, but I think of business. I think it's also a showcase of respect, as Indian fans have been loyal to WWE, and I think it's about time to do that. And I'll also suggest there will be a great tribute to the Indian wrestling superstars, the new ones that are coming up, and somebody like the Great Khali, if at that night that you go into the India tour or the India Supercard, sponsored by Sportskeeda in India, if you have also the big man of India, just the Great Khali, come out or be involved in the match, I think it would also unite the fans of India. As you know, Jinder Mahal, it's also been associated with being also a part of Canada. And obviously the roots of the Indian culture are there. But to make it more of India, you have to somehow in that formula get the big man from India, the Great Khali, involved one more time. And I think it would be the right thing to do if you could have Mahal go back as to his country, or the country that he represents, India, as a champion. I think it would be great for business.
Anthony Holloway wants to know, will The Undertaker show up for WrestleMania?
I don't think for WrestleMania, but he will be there for the 25th anniversary of Raw. It will be fantastic and to see him, and I believe that it will be a great moment to see The Undertaker inducted to the Hall of Fame of WWE, one of the icons. And for you, if you see that, that's our girl. When you hear that screaming, that's Shushi. My Spanish play-by-play, I would say, "Fuego, fuego!" Shushi llama a los bomberos. That's Shushi, and when she screams, it's like there's fire in the house. So that's why I use that in my play-by-play.
Bear Bull Chief wants to know, says, a return of CM Punk to SmackDown would get great ratings on Tuesday. Absolutely.
Yes, the return of CM Punk will get great ratings for WWE. Period. I believe that this is the moment, and WWE has the money, and you know, things that I've seen in the past, rivalries with Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon. The WrestleMania 19, when I get hit by the chair by Hulk Hogan against his boss, Vince McMahon. What happened in the real world was introduced into the WWE wrestling world, and that's why wrestling biggest showcase of the Immortals, WrestleMania 19. That's when Hulk Hogan was fighting Vince McMahon. That was bloody, and as he ducked, Hulk Hogan hit me with a chair. I think those are the stories people want to see, and there's no recent more hard and fantastic story of Vince McMahon firing CM Punk on his wedding day. So I think that you cannot have a better creative, you know, script than that. And I think it's money. I believe it's money, and you know, I think WWE should do it.
And we're basically up. Our half hour is up, Hugo. There's somebody here that says. Gurpreet Asim says, what about Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley push?
Yeah, I don't think right now, especially with the way creative is working, anybody getting on top of WWE is going to take more effort, because the fans have been so much disappointed that they see storylines begin and in less than 2 weeks they get dropped. So fans are holding back. And the worst thing that can happen to a wrestling company, even if it's WWE, the biggest one in the world, is when fans are losing faith on the creative, because instead of being loyal to watching every week, now they're doubting already from the beginning. And like the Bray Wyatt story with the Abigail.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened with Abigail? He comes back and he loses against Jordan. There's no Abigail story. One of the guys that has a real following by the fans. The whole arena becomes part of the Bray Wyatt world, and yet he is nowhere. Just with a tweet that Sportskeeda put on saying to the Bludgeon Brothers, "Come home." And I believe it's time for WWE Creative to come home, to give us the opportunity of enjoying great wrestling shows. Whatever happened to the good writing, where you wanted to wait till next Monday to see what was going to happen on Raw? Whatever happened with the feud of Raw and SmackDown for the fans to decide which is the bigger brand. Whatever happened of that true passion of integrating the right items into each character and devoting time and effort to make each character mean something. Whatever happened to the company that created Hulkamania, that created Stone Cold, 316, The Undertaker, The Rock, the John Cena, the greatest matches on earth? You know, this is the moment where I believe that they have to regain, you know, status, and that's what we're here for. English and Spanish through Sportskeeda Wrestling and Lucha Libre Online, Spanish and English. We give you, the viewers, we give you, the fans, the opportunity of having your comments. Those comments that are appearing right now is what the creative teams of different companies have. And beginning next Wednesday, we will add more comments about like Lucha Underground beginning its 4th season, what's going to happen with Kenny Omega and Jericho on Wrestle Kingdom. We will expand a little bit more about the wrestling world and whatever you want to know. So I think it's time to sign up. Do you have any more?
Yeah. What is the name of that bird? This is
Sushi.
Her name is Sushi. She's a blue and gold macaw. Also, Utsav Sharma. Any news on getting Johnny Morrison back? Did he sign back with?
John Morrison has been Johnny Mundo, of course.
Yes.
Johnny Mundo has been announced to be back on the 4th season of Lucha Underground.
Yes.
But my friend, the director of Lucha Underground, the big kahuna, Eric Van Wagenen, said that they have dropped a clause of wrestlers not being able to compete on other wrestling TV shows.
Yeah.
Now, we do not know if that also stands for WWE. Johnny Mundo, it's needed in Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground, one of the best products you could see, yet we will talk about this on other shows. They were also missing the boat about creating identities of heroes to bring one storyline into another season. But we are running out of time. Remember, the fans in the New York area, Hugo Savinovich is producing Kings of Lucha Libre for Hall of Famer, my friend, the unpredictable Johnny Rots, the unpredictable World of Wrestling main event, Mexican superstars, Dr. Bachner against L.A. Park, and you will have guys from Lucha Underground and the female champions of the Mexican Lucha Libre also in action. My production for my friend Johnny Rots, the unpredictable World of Wrestling. It's called Kings of Lucha Libre, December 9th in Queens, New York. So I'm very active with different companies, and that also keeps my mind fresh. And I am listening to fans all over the world, and it's an honor every Wednesday night to be here with our friends, with our alliance, Sportskeeda Wrestling, the #1 wrestling source in the world. Serious journalistic wrestling reporting. This is it, and we are proud in Lucha Libre Online to be part of the world of wrestling with Sportskeeda Wrestling. So, Diana?
For all of those that celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow, we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. And we thank you. We thank the Lord for all you fans out there. We will be seeing you next Wednesday, 11 o'clock in the morning, New York time. I don't know what time is New York.
In most of your places, it would be something like 9 o'clock at 9 or later.
Yeah.
But we are here. We love what we do, and we love that you're part of Sportskeeda Wrestling. And if you speak Spanish, well, Lucha Libre Online is also your source. We put a lot of effort into bringing you precise, the right information, the passionate information, not to hurt no one. We're not against WWE. We're not against any other wrestling companies. We want the passion of wrestling to grow bigger and bigger. So for Sushi, for the Dangerous Blonde, Diana Savinovich, and for Hugo Savinovich, the son of Doña Melida, we love you, and Tangana!